What's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to our new Go Bat video. Today I'm going to be showcasing Altaria in the Catch Cup. This Pokemon is a very good budget pick for the Catch Cup. It cost me about 25k to make this Pokemon, and it's just extremely strong. Of course we all know how good Dragon Breath users are, and in general, Altaria's got quite a lot of good matchups. As you can see, we've got Quagsire on screen. Altaria does very good against it. I do swap into Cresselia on this occasion, because of course we have Grass Knot, which actually does not one-shot it, but it comes very close to one-shotting the non-shadow. But generally speaking, you've got a ton of Haxorus, Poliwrath, and not so many Greninjas these days. I think the hype around Greninja's kind of worn off, as people are seeing how glassy it is. But generally this Pokemon is very good, and it's getting a lot of very positive matchups. Last season, I made a claim that Altaria is the best flyer in the Great League. The reason I say that is because it's the flyer that beats all our flyers, Noctowl, Pelipper, and so on, except for Skarmory actually, which we did happen to see in this video. And it also does very well against Lantern, so it's a very unique Pokemon and it's super strong for very low cost. At today's video man, we've got some very insane battles, especially towards the end, where of course we're facing off against Legend players. I'm still on the push to Legend, and in this video we get super close. I will of course hope to upload a Legend video in the next day or two, but we also have a lot of news coming out about new Pokemon coming into Pokemon Go. All of the Paldean Pokemon, well not all of them, but they are getting released into the game next season, and I'm definitely very excited for that. We should be getting an announcement here quite soon. So whenever all of that information drops, I'll drop a video and give you guys any breakdowns you need to know about any new Pokemon that are coming. So hit that subscribe button, stay tuned, and turn on notifications if you do want to see some gameplay breakdowns and of course all of the info and the new stuff coming. Now funny enough, in this first game, I'm using Peck on this thing. I'm using Peck. I didn't tee him off the move, I just assumed it's on Dragon Breath. I'm actually pecking this thing down. So this first game is a little bit more awkward than it needs to be. And I'm sure the opponent was like, what is going on? Why is this guy pecking me? So what I decided to do here is go for an undercharge and look to farm Cresselia the whole way down. I probably should have just committed to the farm down in the first place, but I realized soon enough that I need to get an energy lead, because of course Dunsparce can look to one-shot it. And pecking something down, folks, is not quite as easy as you would think. So we're going to let this go, I think, and look to try and peck down with Altaria. Dunsparce gets to these moves fairly quickly. Can we peck this down in time? They get off the first move. Now this is just a case of whether or not they're close to back-to-back. They did just dump 2 moves, so I'm thinking they're not quite at it, and they're not quite able to get rid of us, so good games well played. Guys, today's question of the day, as you can see on the right hand side, we've got a little question box. Which Paldean starter are you most excited for? So the fire type is Skeledirge, which is the final evolution, which is a fire ghost type, just like Alolan Marowak. I think it would be very cool to get a good fire ghost type in the meta. Imagine the thing with Blast Burn, or of course like some different moves. If they give that thing a good moveset, it could be very interesting, quite a nice core breaker. We have Meowscarada, which is a Grass Dark type, which is of course, I'm talking about the stage freeze here by the way. Meowscarada, Grass Dark type, which, it's interesting, but we don't have a lot of Psychic that, Dark's not a very useful typing. It's a very weak defensive typing in my personal opinion, because of course you're very weak to Fairy, very weak to Fighting, which are fairly common in the Great League and of course even in the Ultra League as well. So Meowscarada, while I think it's awesome and it's probably my best design, I think it's the coolest design out of the Paldean starters, it's going to be a little bit tough just because it has so many weaknesses in the meta like Noctowl, Lantern, Medicham, any fairies, any poison types. It's going to be looking tough. And then we have Quaquaval, which is a fighting water type, similar to Poliwrath. You would assume that it's going to have counter. I was seeing that it has a liquidation. We'll most likely get community days for these Pokemon. I think it would be nice if they just came out of the box with Hydro Cannon, Frenzy Plant, or honestly, like, are you guys not getting sick of those moves too? Give them some different interesting moves. I'm sure these Pokemon have their own signature moves at this point, so it would be quite cool to see something a little bit different than the standard Hydro Cannon, Blast Burn, and Frenzy Plant, even though those are quite strong moves. But Quaquaval, quite an interesting one, fighting and water, very similar to Poliwrath, like I said, which is what we've just recently had buffed. So it would need to have some very interesting moves and stat product for it to be better than Poliwrath, because Poliwrath is quite a beast in this current meta, I think, and I think it could be quite good next season, and it's definitely, in my personal opinion, the best buffed Pokemon from this season, so we'll have to see how that goes. For me, I think Skeledirge is the most interesting one. You can let me know in the comment section down below. So hopping into the battles, guys, we've got a Stunfisk, and I make a savage call. We let the Rock Slide go. I have never been earthquaked by this thing, so I just let all of the Rock Slides go at the start. Typically what happens here is they fire the first move in 8, I'll CMP them on 8, then they'll throw the next move after 2. So they'll go for back-to-back Rock Slides, which will take you out. The opponent comes in with Dragonair, and at this point we come in with Cresselia. Now, Altaria, it does beat this thing, but I'm thinking, like, Cresselia is so much more bulky. I would rather just eat the energy on this thing and look to Moonblast it. I'm looking for the catch here. The opponents, they wait for me to overfarm by like 3 or 4 Psycho Cuts and then go for the catch, which you hate to see. But now at this point we can come in with this thing. Look to shield up once basically. They don't even throw the move. We could have shielded up once, took it out with the sky attack, but the opponent's making it even easier than that, and we're going to just take it out. Good games, very well played. In the next match, we have a very unconventional lead. We have Oranguru. Now, I don't have an amazing answer to this thing because it knows foul play, and of course it can know either future sight or psychic, so I'm not necessarily looking to swap out of this match. This thing doesn't hit super hard, and I'm thinking that I can just outpace it and look to fire off multiple moves. I may like to swap out of here quite soon. Generally, this is an ABB style team where you want to keep your lead alive where possible. The opponent, I think, actually goes for the catch on Ludicolo, and at this point we can come into Altaria. Now, I think what I'm going to look to do is throw in about 10 or 11 Razor Leafs, just so they don't get to an Ice Beam. I think the Ice Beam's about 12, if I'm not mistaken, 11 or 12. So I just want to make sure they don't get to that, don't give them a chance to take a shield or, of course, put in heavy damage. Back in comes Oranguru, which kind of makes me think, okay, they're pretty weak to this thing, which should be a fairly easy shield for me. We've got like 3 Pokemon left, we've got 2 shields. I don't think there's too much that can go wrong at this point. We farm it the whole way down, and the opponent says, okay, good luck, good games. So we're going to hop into this next one, Sandslash versus Haxorus. Very terrible lead, and once again in this video, I'm including some of the bad leads as well. Now in comes Jellicent. We're going to look to overfarm. I'm actually going to respect the move here, because I think they will YOLO the Shadow Ball. Cresselia is so bulky that you don't really want to bait it, so we're going to go for good timing. I definitely wanted to throw after they threw to get good timing on this, because I think that's pretty vital here for this matchup. I want to take switch advantage. Whenever they have a counter user on your steel type, you do not want that line back up again. If the opponent lets these moves go, I'll be more than happy. Now there's an argument for shielding this move because it won't take us out, but it'll come very close. I am thinking we can live this and maybe get off 2 moves, because this is on the 3 cycle or on the 5 cycle now, so this is coming 1 cycle cut sooner. The opponent doesn't want to risk it for a low health Pokemon, and we get off another Grass Knot. The opponent may have lost count, so I decided to fire this move off just in case they have, because I don't think I was getting off the Moonblast, and yeah, it doesn't look like it was. So very, very good move, and we can just absolutely farm this down. Now, I can eat a Breaking Swipe, but I'm thinking like they're staying in to throw a move, so they might be quite weak to this in the back. And of course, we want to get rid of this thing, because we have Sandslash in the back, which does not appreciate any of this. So we're going to try and farm it the whole way down. The opponent is swapping out to Stunfisk. Now, Stunfisk wins this match in the 0 shielding scenario, but my goal here is to get this as low as possible. I think I can get off at least a Drill Run, right? And if they let me, I'll get off an Ice Punch. The opponent rightfully goes for a slight overfarm, and then goes for the Earthquake. I believe they farm 1 or 2 over, so I'm going to come in and do a couple of Dragon Breaths, and look to fire off the Sky Attack, just to put in as much damage as possible to try and guarantee the knockout. I'm thinking we can just farm down this other thing, and that's a good game. We absolutely obliterated. Haxorus does not enjoy Dragon Breaths, and that's a good game. Another very negative lead here with the Quagsire. What I was starting to see was a lot of Toxapex swaps, as you're seeing right here. That's kind of why I swapped out Azu for this Pokemon. In the previous video, I was using this team with Azumarill, which is a very strong team, but I was seeing Quagsire lead and Toxapex swap, which was basically RPSing my entire team. I have a very positive matchup against the Quagsire. Even though they know Stone Edge, they're non-Shadow, and it's a very good match for Altaria. So what I decided to do here is farm the whole way up to 9, which is whenever they get the second Sludge Wave, and we'll look to take this thing out, or farm it down if they shield it. So here we go, in comes Quagsire. At this point we can get off multiple moves hopefully, or of course the opponent will have to dump energy to take us out. We're definitely in Stone Edge range, but look how low we're getting this thing. I'm even tempted to shield this at this point, to try and commit to the farm down. I decide not to, and come in with Cresselia here. The opponent swaps straight out and it's a Golbat. Now, I think I make a big mistake here. I stay in for a second to threaten the future side, because here's what happened, right? The opponent swapped in and I already done 2 or 3 Psycho Cuts, so if I swap straight out at that point, they are heavily outpacing me to Shadow Balls and Sandslash, so that's not what I want. I'm trying to fish for a debuff as well, so I decide to try to even up the energy situation a little bit, and then come into Sandslash, which is correct. I don't think an Ice Punch would have quite one-shot it anyway, so maybe that helps. But in general, if you stay in for a little bit too long, you sort of have to commit for a little while, just to make sure that they can't super outpace you. Now the opponent's going to fire off resisted moves here. I'm going to let this go. I don't think they're going to go for the big move. They do go for Poison Fang. I don't think it was enough for Shadow Ball on that occasion, and at this point we can look to take it out. If they let it go, it's basically game over. We can look to swap back into Cresselia, and those Shadow Claws are really adding up. Now this is going to get pretty close. We definitely live a Mud Bomb, but we cannot live a Stone Edge from here, or we'd very, very barely live it. We do shield up the Stone Edge, the opponent just goes straight for it, and we can commit to the farm down. Good games well played. Once again, another negative lead. Let's see what the opponent does. Now what I try to do this time is catch on 5. I've tried that so many times and it's never worked. So if you're going to try that, try to catch on like 6 or 7. If you're close to Legend or above Expert at the very least, people don't tend to throw straight away. I have caught a few like insta-throwing Andes, but generally people don't throw that quickly. They come in with Noctowl, and at this point I'm thinking, you know what? This is a really good opportunity for me. I think I can shield this and farm the whole way down. So that's what we're going to do. They go for Shadow Ball because that's the move that they want to throw to try and take out Altaria. They're going to get a Shadow Ball off, but at this point, we can just farm it the whole way down. I'm committing to this because if we throw a move, that's going to give them a chance to get another wing attack free, which may make the difference. So we commit to the farm down, and at this point, we've got so much energy that we can definitely get back off this Quagsire. Now for good timing, we're throwing after one Dragon Breath, just to make sure that they're not getting a free mud shot every time we throw. And at this point, we're looking in a very good position. If they let this go, we've got 3 Pokemon alive against their 1 Pokemon in the back. It is Pelipper. Now what I decide to do here is just stay in and farm it down to this health range. I wanted to try and get some use out of that thing. I think arguably I should have just swapped straight into Cresselia. I decided to come in, farm up a little bit, try and catch the Hurricane and get off the Ice Punch. If they Hurricane me here, like that does not KO of course. Now they can go for multiple Weather Balls, but they're going to be forced to throw 2, because 1 will not KO, and we are ahead in energy. We're only 1 off the move here, so they have to throw the move. And at this point, we're already a little bit ahead. The opponent's going to need 2 Hurricanes to take out Cresselia from full health, and at this point we can just farm up to the back-to-back. If you're ever in the situation where you need 2 moves, don't throw your move, just farm up to the back-to-back and throw them both. Hurricane number 1 coming through, and yeah, as you can see we're just easily outpacing here. Grass Knot number 1 coming through, which of course is neutral damage. This thing does not appreciate grass moves, and we're going to get off the second one. The Flying Toilet is just getting absolutely grassed up here, and good games. Next matchup here, we've got yet another Legend player. Of course, we're playing a lot of Legends, and there was some, like I said, really insane matches at the end. I think this might be quite a good match, so in comes Dragonair. I'm expecting the catch, but I decide to wait a turn to see the Dragon Breath coming through to throw the move. The opponent does not swap out, which does make me think they're very weak to this thing, so I'm going to look to get off the second Ice Punch and then dip out, take a shield advantage and dip out. At this point I'm thinking the opponent might try to catch the move, so I insta-throw Andy this move, and yeah, because sometimes like people will farm up a couple expecting the catch, right? So I just insta-throw just to kind of throw them off a little bit. In comes Cresselia, and they stand for a Body Slam, which is really good for me. Whenever this thing leaves with energy and they can snipe you with energy, it's so hard to deal with. The opponent goes for a catch on Dunsparce. We get off the Grass Knot, which is perfectly fine. This team seems like a little bit weak to fighters already. A little bit weak to Medicham perhaps. We're going to go for the Moonblast on this occasion because I think it'll get it quite low, and we're going to of course fish for the debuff. We do get the debuff. I got quite lucky with debuffs here today, and we're going to go ahead and eat this move. As you can see, that does very, very little, and at this point I think they're in Grass Knot range. Now we've got both shields off the opponent, and of course they can't really roll us down here. We're going to get off the Moonblast just to absolutely guarantee the knockout. Not messing around, I just want to take switch advantage here and make sure that we get our Pokemon aligned correctly. Now even at this point, I think what I might come to do is, yeah, come in for the farm down with Altaria, and in comes this thing. We're going to try and get off a move with Sandslash. I'm happy enough to shield this up here because all I really need to do is get this into farm down range, and we're basically good to go. I'm over farming slightly, and the opponent will be forced to throw a move on Sandslash, or we will get off another move. A nice punch at this range would take out, so insta-throwing Andy here takes out Sandslash, and just leaves us in perfect range for the farm down. I'm thinking they just about don't get to the move. They only would have got to a Surf, and at this point Dragonair has no chance. Good games, very well played. And Altaria, man, it's just such a difficult Pokemon to deal with. People don't really have an amazing answer to it unless they're running Charm, or of course Ice types. The only Ice type I've really seen is Alolan Ninetales, which is not that common, and it seems to be pretty weak in this cup. We're hopping in. This is a really insane battle here. So Stunfisk. Now you guys heard me what I'm saying earlier, right? I've never got Earthquaked, but my elo was like 25 points off Legend, so I started getting a little bit scared. The opponent, I think, shielded up the first move. So what I'm thinking is, okay, this guy's already Legend, he's gonna YOLO the Earthquake. I convinced myself, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna no-shield it because I'm an absolute savage. The opponent will go for the move here. And what I'm expecting at this point, whenever you let this move go, sometimes Stunfisk is here to protect some counter users. Yep, in comes the counter user, and I was super fast on the swap and stored the energy as well. We come into Cresselia, which is really, really positive. As you guys seen from the match earlier, you can almost one-shot this thing and you can get a nice overfarm. You're doing super effective damage. We're up to 100 energy. Unfortunately, they do CMPS, which is absolutely fine. We can't overfarm any more than that, and these Ice Punches are not adding up too much. We can look to one-shot this with Moonblast, or so I thought. That is the underwhelming thing about Cresselia. It's nice and bulky, has amazing coverage, but it just hits like absolutely nothing. It's like getting hit by a child, you know. After all, this is a rubber ducky, and rubber duckies don't hit too hard, so I guess it makes sense. This thing is all bulk, no attack, but we're going to get off multiple Grass Knots, which is going to put this super, super low. I make a very questionable play here by coming in for the farm down, but I'm just thinking, like, they might have another, like, fighter in the back or something, and it does happen to be a Zoomerald, so this actually turns out to be a good call, because I have enough health on Altaria to, of course, eat the Rock Slide and get off maybe multiple moves on this thing. Now, what I'm looking to do is try and chip this down, because I've got a move loaded on Sandslash, right? The Galarian Stunfisk is super, super low, and I'm thinking they farmed only up to 5, so this has to be the Ice Beam. I'm throwing in good timing, which is for each bubble you throw 2 Dragon Breaths, so you try to throw like one turn before their bubble completes. So I'm trying to optimize this as much as possible. Now we're down 0 to 1 shields here, and this is still a little bit tricky. The opponent seems to be in a decent enough position here. We have the move loaded, and I do let them get a bubble for free, which may be costly. We'll see what we do here. I think the opponent has to throw a move, otherwise we'll get to our next one. Oh, we don't get to the move. Had we thrown in good timing, we would have got to that move. Now the opponent can look to go for a play rough, because of course they're definitely not on Hydro Pump. Now what we're going to do is go for the overfarm. My win condition is the opponent goes for a catch. They do go for the catch and we get off the grass knot. The opponent had to make that catch, they weren't getting to the move. So that's a really, really fun battle, really good player and good games, very well played. I absolutely love battles like that where you're making insane calls, insane bait calls, you're swapping in, swapping out, trying to manage energy. It's a super fun battle. Now the opponent stays in here for a minute, which I thought was quite interesting. They're going to go off a breaking swipe, debuff us, and then come into Noctowl. That is not the play. Like, Cresselia needs free Moonblast to take out Noctowl. Noctowl needs Sky Attack and a Shadow Ball, or just like a Shadow Ball farm down. This was definitely not the play by the opponent, but I'm happy enough with this. They go for the debuff, of course, and we're hoping for a debuff with the Moonblast, and we're hoping to get it into Ice Punch range, or like, you know, even like Ice Punch farm down range, right? Yeah, we don't get off the next move, and the opponent gets a nasty farm down. Noctowl with energy against Sandslash is not comfortable, so I decided to let the first move go, and I'm probably going to look to insta-throw this move. Okay, we go for a slight overfarm, and we do go for CMP on 6. We CMP on the Sky Attack. I thought the opponent might try to get off a Desperation Sky Attack, which they do, and we're going to swap straight out here, try to apply some damage. In comes Quagsire. This is looking a little bit tricky. This Stone Age will do a lot of damage. I don't think they're going to beat here, but I decide I'm going to keep my shields. I sort of need to keep them. The great thing about this matchup is Altaria is super bulky, right? We ate that Stone Age super well, and they cannot farm us down. So the opponent's likely going to start baiting, but I'm in the position where I need to start shielding. The opponent does not get off a move in Haxorus. They swapped in at a very bad time. They probably wait for me to throw energy first and then swap into Hax to get off the energy. But at this point, I know they're probably going to go for Mud Bombs, but I sort of need to shield up everything and sort of maintain some health and try to win this. We make an amazing catch on Sandslash. We're hoping this is a Stone Edge. The opponent YOLOs the Stone Edge and takes us out. No undercharge, and at this point we're just committing to the farm down. Whenever you're in this position, we need 2 moves, right? We have to commit to this farm down, otherwise we cannot win. The opponent gets to a last second move. Is it the Stone Edge or is it the Mud Bomb? And do we survive a Mud Bomb? We just about do. I'm tapping my screen, and we do take it out with 1 HP. We've had 2 wins in a row on 1 HP. Definitely some fun and insane battles here at the very end, and when we're getting super close to Legend. As you can see in this video, we're 29-22, and we're having a very positive set here. Now in comes Carbink, which is a bit of a problem. This thing is actually quite good against Sandslash, and I think in this matchup I forget the counts. I thought it was 10 for the Rock Slide. As it turns out, I think it's 9. So that was a slight miscount by me here, or sort of a misunderstanding by me. It is straight 9 and 12 for the Moonblast, so something to keep in mind. I was trying to CMP them, and at this point they're actually going to get off 2 moves because I sort of misplayed this match a little bit. Now, that was weird. Now, don't tell me that wasn't weird though. I was not able to get off my move, so actually I was getting frame drops. You seen me tapping on the move, so like I was lagging turns here and there. I think I lagged turns twice in that match, so that kind of made it awkward. Now I banked that energy and swapped straight out. In comes Cresselia, and Lantern's not really an answer for Cresselia. Now what I'm thinking here is I can get both shields off the opponent. I've got 2 moves loaded on Sandslash almost, so all I need to do is get shields off the opponent, and then look to sweep the game with energy on Sandslash, and of course Altaria in the back. We're going to fire off another Grass Knot, not messing around. If the opponent wants to let it go, I'm happy enough, because it means that I'm in a very good position. This thing absolutely walls Medi. All of its moves are very weak against it. Another Thunderbolt comes through. It's starting to really add up. We just get off these moves as soon as possible. Not messing around here. We can outpace, and yeah, the opponent lets it go, which I was very happy with. Now at this point, I decide to swap out and go for a drill run. I overtap somehow. Can we watch that back? I mean, sometimes when these things happen, all you have to say is, you know, this is an amazing game, and don't ask me, bro. Don't ask me. I was getting pretty pissed at this point, because now they're going to get off multiple Ice Punches, but the opponent throws Psychic. The opponent throws Psychic. They're on Power Punch Psychic. Whenever you're running this Pokemon in the lead, you generally want Ice Punch, and the other thing, they go for back-to-back Psychics. I now have a chance. The game is screwing me, but I'm actually having a chance to win here. I think we're in the driver's seat at this point, and we're looking to be in a great position. Unless anything stupid happens. We're coming in here with Cresselia. We're going to get off this Grass Knot, and my game completely freezes in the middle of throwing the Grass Knot. Now, I could hear the sounds. Is this enough to take out this Pokemon? I was super raging at this point. The game's forcing me to overtap. I'm crashing when I'm just about to win the game. Like, you know, people talk about the algorithm, like shit like this happens and it makes you wonder. So we're going to boot up the game again and see if we actually won that match. That Grass Knot would have been super close to taking out Medicham. It was right on the hair. I think it was super close. I'm not sure if it would have quite taken out. But if we did get that, that's a 4-1 set, and that's going to put us super close to legend. Let's have a look. We're going to click in. We've got a Charmander. We don't even care. Yes, we do get the 4-1 set, so that's amazing. We're going to have to discard some items. And as you're about to see, we're super close to legend, man. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had a lot of fun with this team, and I might try to use it to force my way to legend. Most likely I'll be uploading all of the information on the new season in the next day. And have a look here, we're on 29.22, and we got it the whole way up to 29.76. Now, spoiler alert, I went 1-4 in the next set. I actually disconnected from another match in the next set, which again is super frustrating, and I got a full set full of hard counters, which you hate to see. But I think tomorrow we're in a good position. My current elo, I believe, I might be mistaken, but it's over 29.25. It's maybe like 29.29 if I had to guess. I can't quite remember. But either way, if we get a 5-0 tomorrow, we will get legend. So good games, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun with this team. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to join us in Discord. We have an amazing community. We do streams, practice battles, and of course all the stuff you can see on screen there. Add friends, read invites, coaching, so on. Feel free to join us in there. And thank you very much for all the support in the videos, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.